Great challenge, going up against a great team. They have tremendous players. I think it's a great opportunity for us. Definitely to go out there, prove what we've been working for, and to let everyone know that we have been working for something that on the big stage we can play.
News team, assemble!
It's back and bigger than ever. It's the unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Presented by the Choctaw Casino and Resort in Durant. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and Bob.
All right, we are back. It is the unofficial 4-day podcast here from Soonerscoop.com with the entire gang joining us, and it is our first postseason unofficial 40, which the Sooner coaches have been out on the road recruiting. Oklahoma has won the Big 12 championship. We're waiting on Kyler Murray to possibly win another Heisman Trophy over the weekend as that gets ready to go on. And I want to remind you guys, the unofficial 40 brought to you by the Choctaw Casino in Durant. Just a fantastic place to go and enjoy a weekend or a night. Just over in Durant, not far. If you're listening from Dallas, it's only about a little over an hour drive from you in Oklahoma City. Tulsa, it's just a couple of hours down the road, but it is a fantastic casino if you've never been there. Great dining, 1832 Steakhouse. They've got the district. If you want to go get just a burger or something, go to the bowling alley, go watch a movie, go to the sports bar, but La Cantina for Mexican food. They got the Grand Cafe, Gillies, all kinds of stuff. Plus, just a great hotel, great place to stay, very reasonable rates. I've stayed at some casinos in this state, and it is really, really expensive. But over in Durant, it's a great stay. They got the Choctaw Lodge, the Choctaw Spa Tower, which is fantastic. So Choctaw Casino and Resorts, they make this all possible. So thank them. Go support them as well. All right, guys. Josh, Eddie, Bob, myself, we are all here today. And I don't know where you guys want to start first. I mean, I guess we should start by kind of wrapping up the Big 12 championship by the Sooners. Kyler Murray, of course, a big night for him because what he did and then what happened with Tua later on where he got hurt and just didn't play well. But boy, this sets up a really interesting weekend. Once again for the Sooners, I guess everybody I guess my message is don't be spoiled. I mean, you're getting to this time of year and you're just like, oh yeah, well, we win a Big 12 championship and then we go to the Heisman and then we go to the college football playoff. Like, it's incredible that the same exact scenario is happening 2 years in a row.
We know how to cover it this time, right?
Yes.
We had a practice run last year.
We're well-versed.
And I would still argue that we won at the Rose Bowl. We did as a media group. Teams was the ones that it up for everybody.
How so?
Well, they lost.
Well, I mean, you just enjoyed the Rose Bowl?
No, yeah, I thought it was awesome.
It was very good. It was cool.
One of the better trips that we've taken.
They do it up right. And
I would agree.
You were blown away by your first trip to Pasadena, weren't you?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. L.A. was
Pasadena
awesome.
is unbelievable.
Very cool place.
We've been to Miami together, right?
Yeah.
Have we not? Yeah, because we went for Syracuse. Or Clemson. I'm thinking Orange.
And I've been to Miami before
orange.
that, too.
Went when Sam played as a student?
I went to the Florida game and then the USC game. So I'm 0-3. I've been watching OU play football in Florida. Actually, no, they're 1-3.
We're accepting offers.
1-3. 1-3.
I just said I am 1-2 at national championship game.
They won in Tallahassee.
Did you go to the Russell Athletic Bowl?
No, I did not. That's the only OU game I haven't been to in probably, I would say, 15 years.
Carey was there and is still haunted by it.
Same here. It was terrible.
Yeah,
like everybody Kersey went off on it this week. Like how much he hated it too.
Yeah, he calls it the Walmart sweat.
It was the Russell Athletic Bowl at the time, and he refers to it as the. It's just so stupid. It's so ridiculously expensive to go to Orlando in the first place, as we're probably going to find out for the Under Armour All-American game. And then you get there, and you don't have any kind of media at all. I mean, it's stupid.
And you don't win your way into the game. You fall into it because you sucked.
Poor West Virginia.
They fell into it.
So much of a better season than to end up at that damn bowl.
3 weeks ago, West Virginia was a legit playoff contender. and now they're there.
So you don't go. No fans show up because you don't embrace going.
And you want to
that
kill
game.
yourself by the time you get there with all the families on the flights out to Orlando.
And
I've
then
heard
if
that
you-
Orlando airport's the worst place in the entire world.
I'm coming at this
It's
from
bad.
a dad's angle. Can you imagine Disney World the week of that with all the West Virginia folks rolling in? That's going to be a special place in the Magic Kingdom.
But I mean, even for the
bunch of
fans,
families.
even for the fans, I mean, West Virginia's probably not terrible, but like if you're coming from, that's an expensive bowl to go to, and it's not any good.
Yeah, and it's like the epitome of your season was shitty. Congratulations, you get to go to the
And guess
Orlando.
what? When you drive out to that stadium, you're driving through a war zone.
Yes, you are.
It's all the closed down apartment buildings are boarded up and
I was
stuff.
glad we were in a shuttle.
Except for Apopka, which is a lovely, lovely town that
Ty Darlington will beat your ass.
brought
if you
home
don't
the
say.
Darlingtons. Yes. So no, it's we know what to do. It's gonna be a fun week down in Miami, and it's gonna be interesting because after we I guess called it a night on Saturday, I was extremely triggered at the thought that OU was going to be left out. But I think we played ourselves as far as thinking that was actually even a possibility. It was just a bunch of talking heads.
I was on a show in Alabama this morning, and they were kind of like, OU
Humble.
fans were confident they were getting in, right? And I was like, I mean, kind of. But there was still, I mean, like, Herb Street came out so strong. And I didn't see his stuff until I'd already listened to you guys the next morning because as Twitter was aware, I got in pretty good shape on Saturday night. So
Now you were fighting with people. Like, you turned into me all of a sudden.
I'm super not a mean drunk, but apparently I'm a mean Twitter drunk. I don't know what that is. I went at Mike Farrell. I went at the.
You went at Mike
did.
Farrell?
Yes, he did about Calcaterra.
Oh God.
He made a comment about why, because Riley got kind of choked up in the post game. I don't know if you guys have seen that. You probably have. You watched the game. But he made a comment about why it was so hard, because Riley said something about, it's been a tough year, it's been a trying year, or something like that. And nobody says shit for like hours. And I thought it at the time, and I was like, not gonna say it. Like 5 whiskeys later, I'm like, because he started a offensive tackle at tight end, and of course, all the OU fans are the only ones that get the joke, and they're like, they're dying. But I was like, I kind of regret that the next day. The other part was just funny, but I'm not going to give that dude any time.
I just don't know what the Kirk Herbstreit was talking about. Like,
Man, he
It was really strange.
How did he? It was so. I don't understand it still. I don't get it.
And then his tweet Monday, I mean, that's to a much lesser extent when he didn't have OU in his top 5 of Saturday and Kyler in his top 5 from Saturday. Just really weird how he kind of made a dramatic turn.
Yeah, it seemed like there was an axe he was grinding, and I don't know if
Agreed.
Lincoln is not giving him the same type of access that he was used to with Bob. I mean, that goes through your
That's
head.
just such a weird play if that's
I know.
really what he's doing. Like, I honestly, he kind of doubled down, I think this morning on a show that I saw, that I think he really thinks that Georgia should have been in it, which my response to that is, how many times do they have to lose before you say, okay, well, maybe not? I mean,
But no,
is it
but we
3
don't need
losses?
to see that game again. But
It would've
maybe
been the
they
same
are.
game.
Maybe they are the best team, one of the 4 best teams. But they clearly cannot beat Alabama because they were down 14 and facing a backup quarterback, and they still lost.
That's the thing. That's the thing that I don't get is they lost. I don't understand how we can sit here and pretty much stand for a team that got beat. That makes no sense.
That was up.
Kirk Herbstreit wanted
14.
a team that got beat to move up spots in the college football playoff.
Right, with 2 losses.
Because he's the only one that has Georgia not playing Bama again. He had it Clemson versus Georgia, so to him that felt fresh.
He's basing everything about what we know about college football based on whether or not you can beat Alabama.
It's so strange.
Whose quarterback played terrible
And lost the Heisman?
and probably lost the Heisman.
That's the biggest thing to me. The playoffs is one thing. I think everybody thought he was going to get in. The Kyler Murray ascension into the lead for the Heisman going
crazy.
into Saturday. When was the last time this ever happened? It's unprecedented for a guy to move up so much in 2 weeks. Or maybe was I just naive in thinking that there was no way 15 days ago that Kyler could win this thing? And was the gap closer than we all really thought? I just don't understand how over the last 2 games people have now said, okay. And how do those numbers, I think that's what I'm caught up on, the numbers situation, as far as how did all of a sudden Vegas just decide this guy's our leader now? Like, that doesn't make sense.
I bet part of it was that Vegas had not gotten a lot of action during the year on the Heisman.
And then it all starts funneling in.
And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, there's a shot for us to get some action on this now.
Then that kind of makes me not worry, but I think everybody is thinking.
But I mean, they're not into the business of losing money though. They wouldn't put out a line.
That's what I'm saying. That's what makes me think that he's going to win it. That's the only thing that makes me think he's going to win it, is the fact that Vegas is never wrong on this kind of stuff. They're not going to get taken to the bank just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
What is Tua's Heisman moment?
He doesn't have
Jalen Hurts' touchdown.
Jalen Hurts' touchdown.
But I don't know if I get caught up in the. I mean, we kind of talked about it this morning, Bob. What is Kyler's Heisman moment? I guess that he has a bunch of various Heisman moment games in a way, but like I think the moment for me would be Texas, and they got beat in the game.
What the run
75-yard run, because that kind of officially had closed that gap that they had been chasing all day.
Yeah.
But they still lost the game.
It was at the time. It was the biggest swing in a game that had happened. I mean, for the entire year, that was the most momentum changing play he made all season.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, he made so many damn plays in so many games. Right. I mean,
well, I think the easy argument is how many games does OU win if he's not the quarterback? I think they're 7-4 at best.
It's not, but see, that's part of it too. But to me, the biggest argument is that OU needed Kyler Murray more than Alabama needed Tua.
Absolutely.
They just needed
look
Jalen
at Saturday.
Hurts.
Yeah.
Look at Saturday. That's the perfect example.
From mid-third quarter on, could that game have played out any better for Oklahoma? Not only did Alabama come back and win and pretty much cemented OU's spot in the playoffs, but also Jalen Hurts coming in and being the one that led Alabama back puts the whole Tua thing into question. Now, it shouldn't be. Tua's a great player. But it drives home what we've been talking about on the pod and what a lot of people have brought up. Alabama would still be 12-0 without Tua Tagovailoa. Like, that wouldn't change anything. But they're better with him, but they'd still pretty much be who they are, and OU would be nowhere near where they are.
I'm a little bit upset the fact that now that Texas is going to get a bigger recruiting bump off of the postseason than Oklahoma now. Because they're going to the Sugar Bowl, and they're not going to go play Alabama and get their heads kicked in.
I was warned this was coming, so I'm ready for it.
Wait,
the
what?
problem's going to be Texas
Bob,
is going to get their head kicked in. Texas is a god-awful matchup for Georgia. Georgia will beat that ass.
Are they, though?
I don't think they
will.
Are they,
though?
Oh, they will. No,
Georgia doesn't. Does Georgia want to be there?
Yeah, exactly. This could be just like the Alabama Sugar Bowl.
This is going to be a Super Bowl for Texas.
Is Texas the same team as LSU, essentially, but a little better on offense? And a little worse on defense.
Right.
A lot worse on defense.
So I think they're pretty evenly matched, even if they both want to be there.
Oh, I don't think so. Because look, Georgia's offensive line, one of the few offensive lines in the country that stacks up with Oklahoma. They're not going to pressure Fromm at all.
Yeah, but you know what? As much as so boy, the Breckyn Hager thing. Let's take a little side tangent there. The stuff he was putting out on social media where he's holding a knife. I don't know how many people that are listening saw it because he took it down pretty fast. But I knew people that were like watching his account and grabbing things. But apparently he punched a mirror or something. I don't know if he sliced his hand up with that knife or whatever.
He sliced his hair.
I don't want to make fun of the guy.
Sliced his hand punching him.
No.
Concerned for him.
That was the thing. Like after I put up all that Cole Kubelik stuff.
He's too soft to do anything.
After I put up that Cole Kubelik stuff, and everybody started piling on.
Oh, it's 1,000% worth it.
I haven't looked at how many likes or retweets that ended up getting. But like after I saw those, I legitimately thought, what if we wake up tomorrow and Breckyn Hager's killed himself? Because I thought that was a possibility.
Yeah, that's scary stuff. Like, and don't get me wrong, I think he's a knob, and there's all these things about him. Dude doesn't need to die because he had a terrible football game, like, and talk too much trash leading in. Like that's not where I'm at in this world. But God, That's scary. That's legitimately like something's not right with you.
I don't think there's much right with him to begin with.
That's probably fair, but okay.
Okay, when can we start making fun of him then?
I was excited to get to something a little funnier about it. Did Cole Kubelik know that literally it was
every one of those was Breckyn Hager?
Lights?
I don't know.
He had to have.
I can't remember a time a guy just getting his ass whooped like Breckyn Hager did. I mean, that for me was just, it was slightly erotic.
That Cody Ford clip.
That's literally what I would imagine he would do to me.
Yes, I came to it because I was thinking about it. Like, Hager's a little taller than I am, but other than that, I mean, like, he's a healthy 20-year-old athlete, but just physical size, like ability to throw me, it's fairly comparable. I'm like, that's what that man would do to me. Like, and that's scary to think that there's people out there that can throw me around like a little nothing. And that's exactly what he did to Hager. The Ford video, that's just a man losing his whole, like, you're not even a football player anymore. Just, you've lost everything.
He shouldn't be a defensive lineman.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that more than anything, like, I think Texas's defense is decent, but that's the biggest indictment on that defense is that he's a defensive end for them. Like, they can't do better than that.
There is no way Tom Herman allows him to look him in the eye anymore.
No more kisses for you.
No more, like, yeah, you might not even be allowed to come around the facility, even though you're graduated.
Excommunicated?
Yeah, basically.
For all you Catholics?
I would have. You got to take some drastic steps after something like that happens.
What if Breckyn with the knife goes after Zach Smith, and that's going to be like his. That's going to be his
atonement.
There we go. Couldn't get there. I was going with abstinence, and I was like, "That's not the right word. That's not what I'm looking for at all."
If that's the case, then we know that Tom Herman and Breckyn been f***ing. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but
there is. There absolutely is. You can get fired as a coach if you're having sexual relationship with your players.
This is 2018. He's maybe get a little bit more woke.
No, those rules
Carey.
haven't changed.
Maybe get a little bit more woke.
Broaden your horizons.
Rules have not
Broaden
changed.
your horizons just a little bit.
This is about you being too close-minded, Carey. That's what this is.
It's 2018. Things happen.
Eddie's being fake millennial right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they got to at least, like, don't they have to start having metal detectors at the facility now?
Well, I think that it was more at his place. That whole thing was weird. He's a weird dude. I mean, some of the shit that he said, it's very obvious that he's a weird guy, so it was all very strange, but I was happy to see that he got his ass whooped.
He wrote a check his ass couldn't catch.
Absolutely. That's the only way to put it. And it was beautiful.
So that was disturbing. I mean, his play, his actions afterwards, his Instagram, it was all disturbing. And the only thing I hated about the Instagram is it took away my enjoyment of watching those guys kick his ass.
Kind of made me enjoy it more. This trickle-down spiral that it had caused.
So Oklahoma comes out of the Big 12 championship, winners 4 times.
Josh, do you have any immediate thoughts that you wanted to share from the game? I know we didn't get to talk to you afterwards, but kind of unfolded the way that you thought, or?
It not in the way. I mean, OU's offensive line, I don't know what to make of that performance. Like, I don't know if that was just they were just off that day, because like I went back and watched it for the idiot, and it wasn't bad. Like, there would just be a little misfire here, or this guy got a little too wide on this block. You know, like it was little stuff that you wouldn't say, okay, that's what they've been doing all year. It just, you know, like, it's almost like when a great player he's just off that day, kind of like Kyler Murray for a good chunk of that first half, when it wasn't bad, he was just not quite himself. And that's what the offensive line looked like, especially in the run game, all 4 quarters. Like, they just couldn't quite get off the mat. And, you know, like, but at the same time, you see them doing stuff like we talked about what they did to Hager. I mean, there was plenty of good. And so I think that's going to be obviously something they can't afford to do against Alabama. You have an off day, and Oklahoma can't run the ball at all against Alabama. That's going to be a huge problem. But we'll get into all that. But no, I mean, by and large, I thought it was a pretty good game because Oklahoma kind of got hit in the mouth. And unlike the first game, I thought they bounced back and really became the aggressor as the game went on.
Texas doesn't. I mean, they don't play Oklahoma like everybody else. Like they kind of make it difficult for you to find someone to block. I mean, and they're really good. I mean, they're always mindful of getting off blocks and getting after the ball carrier. Like you saw plays where guys were engaged, and OU's offensive lineman probably did a poor job of not keeping people engaged because I think they feel like when guys, start running backwards or sideways, like that they've won, where they're just getting off the blocks and getting to the ball. Like they swarm to the football. Really, I'm impressed by Texas' defense in that way.
And they will hit you in the mouth.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that.
They play hard. Orlando's done a good job with them.
Absolutely.
They ain't soft.
Which is weird because their head coach is soft a little bit. He thinks he's hard, but he really isn't. I guess he just is really good.
He makes you so uncomfortable in the post game. Like I don't know what he's doing. Like
I just kind of look at him like,
gonna cry? Is he?
What are you?
Bitching? Is he moaning? What's he doing right now?
Well, if they would have won, he would have been arrogant and over the top, happy. Probably complimented OU a million times, and they got beat, and he acts like a little bitch.
The thing about not seeing other teams and not like Nick Saban went to bat for Georgia, and of course they won, so it was easier for him.
And he voted Georgia 5.
Yeah,
so he went to bat.
His SID voted. His SID voted.
You talking about Saban?
Yeah.
Does Herman have a vote?
I don't remember.
I didn't even look at what the coaches voted.
I don't know. I never look at those things because I don't think they're actually voted on.
But it doesn't matter because it doesn't affect the who makes it in.
That's
the
my
playoff.
thing with all the shit that coaches spend time politicking against. Why don't they just stand up and say we're not doing this anymore? Period. Like there's nothing to make them do it.
He has a vote. Tom Herman. You want to know what he voted?
Yeah, look it up.
He had OU 9th.
Did he really?
No.
No. He had OU 4. Alabama 1, Clemson 2, Notre Dame 3, Oklahoma 4.
You almost had him. You almost had
Damn
him.
you, Eddie.
Let's see if
you should have let that go. Just a full-on triggered carry.
Texas 14, West Virginia 15. Nothing really crazy. Iowa State 24. Yeah. Yeah, he does have a vote, though.
So he's only a douche in only a douche in public.
Well, again, he's just, I don't know. It is what it is. I don't think he's a very good person. But
see, like I gained so much respect for Gary Patterson after last year. Like he was like, good luck playing them.
Yeah, he said it again this year.
Yeah, he said it again this year. Like
I think he understands from a defensive perspective. You know what it is? Is Tom Herman a little bit jealous of Lincoln Riley as far as, I know this would be
being considered the offensive genius
right,
and all that.
Like I know that'll probably be perceived wrongly in Austin, but I could see there being a little bit of jealousy because Lincoln Riley's kind of the golden boy. He's going to have 2 Heisman trophies, 2 Big 12 championships, 2 college playoff appearances. I mean,
and he didn't take over
a number 1 draft pick at quarterback.
A number 1 draft pick at quarterback.
And he didn't have to take over a program in shambles.
And everybody loves him. There's not a person out there that doesn't like Riley.
Yeah. Except for Tom Herman.
Exactly. Like, I think that there is some kind of little jealousy or, I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
Save for, what's his name that took over at Miami after Butch Davis left?
Manny Diaz?
No.
Coker?
The head coach. Old guy, glasses.
Larry Coker.
Not Larry Fedora. Shannon?
Randy Shannon.
No, he was the DC.
I don't see color.
Damn it. Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
Who's he talking?
With that exception.
Hold on. No. We can get this.
Just...
We can get. Who took over for Butch Davis? Oh, you're talking about Dennis Erickson.
No, Dennis Erickson did not take over. Damn it. All right, fine. Since we can't do it.
Dennis Erickson. Then there was Butch Davis. Then there was Did Larry Coker come in?
Larry Coker. That's exactly.
We said
Larry Coker.
Damn it.
You need to listen, Josh.
I never heard Larry Coker.
Larry Coker was said multiple times.
By me and Carey.
That didn't happen. That's a lie.
He's one of
That didn't
Oklahoma's
happen.
own. How could you forget
Yeah.
it?
People to listen to this podcast.
His brother was the principal at Tuttle High School, who told him about Jason White.
Al
tried to move
Coker.
Is
I
it-
just made that name up.
I thought so. No,
Regardless,
Terry.
at this point, other than Coker, who obviously he won a national title the year after Davis left with a team that, like,
Maybe
any of the
the-
four of us could have coached a national title.
Probably almost the equivalent of the 85 Bears on defense.
Yeah, that roster is still one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Anyway, with that exception, has anybody ever stepped into I guess it's probably wrong to call Butch Davis like a legend, but like, has anybody filled in better than Riley took over for Stoops? Kind of in that situation. Like, I can't think of any.
Well,
off
why
the
do you
top
think
of my
Ohio
head.
State's doing what they're doing? Because of Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
When
you're right. Dave's
when
really
the coach
good.
designate fell out of favor after Mac Brown and
Yeah,
Will
Muschamp.
Muschamp and
This is the new coach in waiting, basically.
Hell.
Is naming
Guys,
that
you
guy,
remember
just naming him.
Yeah.
You remember who the coach in waiting in Kansas State was?
It was,
Freaking James Franklin.
oh, really?
When?
He was there. When was James Franklin there?
Really?
with Ron Prince, you mean?
Yeah. Let me. When was he at Kansas? I thought he was with. Am I wrong about that? I feel like I'm right about that.
Did you smoke a spliff before we started this?
Josh, what are you doing today?
No, he was Kansas State 06, 07.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there for 2 years. I didn't even realize that. I did not
Yeah.
realize that. And then he went to Maryland, and then obviously Vanderbilt, and now he's at Penn State.
Okay, I was wrong though. He wasn't on Snyder's staff. I thought he was with Snyder for a year. So
So he came in with Rob Prince.
yeah, he's
Ron
followed Prince, which is a
Prince.
great way to go.
He was one of the coaches that had to run stadium.
Yeah,
stairs, probably.
Prince, one of the most legendary stories of all time, is making his assistants run stadium steps. If I was on that staff, I literally would have got on camera to tell him to himself. Not running stadium steps.
Do you know where Ron Prince is now?
He was just rumored to. Did he just take the Howard job? Is he the head coach at Howard now?
I haven't heard that. He is an offensive analyst at Michigan right now. Is the last known.
Well, that's why they're so good.
I think
It makes total sense.
I think his name has been floated out there to take the Howard head coaching job, and the only reason I know that is because I remember thinking how weird that was. Not weird,
you know,
but
like
just
the
like
Howard alumni are like, hell no,
Oh,
we don't even want him.
probably it's one of those situations that they need him more than he needs them.
I'm going to be interested to see what Ryan Day does to the Big Ten moving forward, because he destroyed that old man at Michigan that everybody thought was the god. It's defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, the guy that was running. Talk about another guy that was running his mouth and his ass couldn't cash the check. That was. Is it him? Is Ryan Day the genius behind everything at Ohio State, or is it Kevin Wilson?
He's the Chip
Or
Kelly
Urban.
disciple.
Okay. So he's been with
Kevin
him in the
Wilson,
NFL.
Kevin Wilson's as close as I've ever seen before Lincoln to offensive genius.
Was Ryan Day with Chip Kelly in the NFL, or was he an Oregon guy?
No, he was with him at New Hampshire. He played for him at New Hampshire.
Okay. Because I just until this year, I'd never really heard of the guy.
I hadn't either.
Had other people?
that's
I
true.
mean, was he
No.
like a name in the college ranks?
The first time I never heard of him was when he took over play calling from Kevin Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, you can't argue with what he's done with Dwayne Haskins, though.
No.
Dwayne Haskins pretty good.
Or what he did to Michigan. Ohio State, they have some speed on that team, man.
You know what's funny is I saw yesterday people talking about this too. Is everybody, and obviously Urban Meyer's a good head coach. He's a really good head coach. He's very accomplished, 3 national championships, whatever. People act like he pulled them out of the depths of hell. When
Jim
basically,
Tressel was winning national championships before he got there.
Jim Tressel was like 168-22 at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he exactly just went to a place the cupboard was bare. I mean, Luke Fickell shit down his leg and went 6-7, but did they basically fired? He was an interim guy for that year, right?
Right, yeah.
Yep. But the tattoos, Eddie. Don't forget about the tattoos.
Yeah,
Three tattoos.
Isn't that a small thing looking back on it? That's just a footnote in the Big Ten history when you have
It's a
defense
footnote in
coordinators.
Ohio State coaching history.
Yeah,
Think about how
shit.
their guys keep going out. Breckyn
Yeah.
Gall had a great tweet about it the other day. It's insane. Ohio State guys always seem to leave under crazy circumstances.
There's no doubt about that.
I mean, like Earl Bruce, the one that probably was the easiest and is, related to our buddy Zach Smith, friend of the pod,
Glad he's
went
dead.
out after dismissing Chris Carter, who obviously went on to do some decent football things.
It's wild.
Well, you start with Woody
incredible.
Hayes.
Yeah, Woody Hayes punched
Woody
a guy in the
Hayes punching.
throat.
Can you
Insane.
imagine if that happened today
Oh.
on Twitter?
Oh.
Bob Knight,
Yeah, that-
30 for 30 is really good, by the way. I watched it the other day.
I mean, at times you could have. That's not fair, actually.
You're going to call
Maybe.
over that one.
You're good.
I'm erasing that.
Allegedly.
Mark it.
I am marking it. Just be a big long beep. I'll do an Eddie to myself.
You should just say
About her?
We'll never know what we're talking about.
We
unbelievable.
won't.
Carey, that's awful. Oh my God.
Okay, stop it. You force. Forcing me to delete an entire segment now.
Don't delete it. All right, where did we jump off?
Well, we were trying to wrap up the Big 12, which I think we did adequately.
Yeah, we did that.
Kyler Murray up for the Heisman this week. We did have a chance to talk to him. We had a media session Monday night, and I thought he had an interesting
that was
take on. He basically, because here's the thing, Kyler Murray.
That was as open
Yeah.
as you get Kyler Murray.
Like,
he was obviously very happy about the happenings in his life.
And see, I was kind of hoping that this would. It was almost like a mini bowl game, media session,
Yeah,
because
it was.
That's usually when guys are letting loose, and you can ask them. You get detailed into things. Like I remember last year, I asked Kel Gundy about whether he wanted to be an offensive coordinator again, and he was pretty candid about that stuff. And so Kyler, I'd asked him kind of just, kind of one of those questions about just to see what he would say about just his journey so far. Was there somewhere that you really grew off the field in those 2 years that allowed you to have this type of year, just personally?
I think a part of it's, I thank Baker for sure. He doesn't know it, but I mean, I thank him more than he. Like I said, I'm appreciative that I did get the opportunity to. Obviously, no kid, no competitor wants to sit for the time that I did, but I don't think I'd be here right now or playing the way I am if I didn't get to see how it's done and watch him do his thing. And obviously having Coach Riley there to help me along the way, just competing against him every day. I mean, whether he knew it or not, those practices were my game day. So yeah, I mean, thankful to have Bake in my corner, Coach Riley, and just trying to get better each and every day is part of the process.
And see, what's weird about that is people that didn't cover, that weren't there when they were both there at the same time. I'm not saying they're opposite personalities, but they're two very different personalities.
Very close to it.
Like Baker, I think, always wanted to be as cool as Kyler was, or be considered as cool as Kyler. Whereas Kyler, he had the swag. I mean, it was just he was bathed.
Kyler's the pinnacle of cool.
He was bathed in swag.
He's a millionaire.
Yeah, I mean, and Baker, he was a rich kid, and walked on. He wasn't an All-American. He did lose games when he was in high school, although he won state championships. Like Kyler was seen as the mountaintop of QB1 basically in the state of Texas. And so Baker had to kind of fight for everything that he got. Kyler was kind of put on a pedestal by everybody. And you could see, like, when they would talk about each other, it was playful, and I don't think it was ever in poor taste or like it was mean-spirited or anything. But like you could always tell there was a rivalry between those two.
Well, he said as much on Monday, just as far as during that year that he had to sit out. It was his game days were practice days.
That's what he just said.
Yeah, and that's basically just what kind of reinforcing is that I think that they did compete, that competition between both of them, I think in the long run, if you asked them, it's kind of cliche to say, but it made both of them better.
When you know every day, I mean, and I'm sure they probably trash talked about if I was out there, I'd be doing better than that.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that happened.
But Kyler is never going to be one of those guys that would ever admit somebody could do something better than he would, and Baker's the same way.
It's almost, I don't know if fortunate's the right word for Oklahoma fans, but it's insane just to kind of think like, and I'm sure Austin Kendall should write a book deal right now. He should get a book deal because he's literally sat behind these last 3 years. He sat behind two of the better quarterbacks to ever play the game. Statistically, they're two of the best quarterbacks to ever play college football.
Yeah.
It's insane to think about. Like, it's really unlucky on his part, but, I mean, then again, at the same time, he can step in next year and, I guess, win the job or transfer or do whatever. But
the only person I know that
he has a very unique look at it all, I think.
The only person I know that had worse luck is Keith Nickel. He lost the job to Sam Bradford, and then he transferred to Michigan State.
Has nobody else to blame but himself. That's because he wore Timberlands and a Bluetooth.
You were not a Keith Nickel fan, were you?
No.
But then he went and he had to sit behind Kirk Cousins at Michigan State.
Like, yeah, but then that is true. I didn't even think about that. He did catch the game winner, though, on that Mary
against Nebraska.
So he'll always have that.
Well, he's smart enough to switch to receiver. But I mean, the thing about Kyler and this ride is a lot of that stuff was it should be appreciated that he did this in just a year. And it's not, yes, he played at Texas A&M, but he only started one game when he was a freshman. It was against South Carolina, and they won. But still, to come out and have it took Baker 2 years at OU before he put together one of the best seasons that had ever been done. Kyler did it right from the start. I mean, it's amazing.
Did he do it? And he's done it in a different way. I mean, obviously, the 2,000-yard receivers are a big asset to have. Having a guy like Marquise Brown's obviously pays dividends. Same with CeeDee Lamb. He's made some unbelievable grabs. But, I mean, when it's really come down to nut cutting time at moments this year, Kyler gets it done with his legs. I mean, obviously, a God-given talent to be able to remove that fast. But
I think the one thing about Kyler is you actually feel more confident when it's 3rd and 10 than you did with Baker.
Just because he's able to bring the ball down and run?
Right.
Yeah. Like, he'll never answer it. You'll never get an answer from Lincoln Riley, but I would love to know 2-minute drive for a national championship. Who are you taking? Like, it could be argued,
and all of a sudden you have them both back on your
debated.
bench.
Yeah. I don't know who I'd go with. I think I honestly, God, I don't think I would have ever said this a year ago. I might take Kyler.
Lincoln Riley might have invented an entirely new offense if both of them had been eligible again.
That's the kind of the big thing in a couple text groups I'm in is looking back on it, knowing what you know now. Should they have used Kyler more in the Rose Bowl last year?
That's good.
It's hard to say no.
That's a lot more legitimate argument than Paul Thompson, Jason White, or Sugar Bowl 2003.
It pales into comparison.
Man. Yeah. That's a real, like, I can get by, like, that summer drove me insane more than any summer ever. Like, I can get behind listening to people fight about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a legitimate fight.
It's a legitimate question, debate, summer program, summer series, whatever you want to call it.
The one thing about Kyler that I found interesting, and I do believe him, is that if he loses the Heisman Trophy, I don't think it'll crush him. I don't think it'll destroy him.
No, because I think that it's almost unfair to say this about Kyler, but it's almost like this whole football thing has been just a fulfillment of him being able to say that he can do it to himself.
Yeah,
it's for nobody else other than him.
Yeah. Here's Kyler talking about his expectations.
I mean, I'm not going into it. If I were to lose it, I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed. It's for me. I'm going into it just expecting, just to be grateful for the opportunity to be there. Obviously, we got, Dwayne's having a great season. Tua's having a great season. And for me, I'm just blessed to be a part of it. Honestly, I'm not going into it, thinking, oh yeah, it's mine, I'm gonna win it or anything like that. I'm just going into it, clear eyes, just open-minded, and just have fun.
thought he was about to do it.
Clear eyes.
I thought he was
full
about to do
hearts,
it.
Can't lose. And why does Kyler keep throwing out possibly? Like he's talking about last year, possibly.
I think
why does he keep doing that?
Because I think that there's not a chance that he's going to come back, but I think there's just in his heart, it's going to be really tough to put up football.
Right.
It's going to be really tough to walk away.
In his heart, he believes he can do both at the highest level possible. He's not ready to say that one chapter of his life is done.
I want to ask him at the bowl game, are you going to keep up academically? Or where are you academically? Is it even possible?
To come back?
Yeah.
I don't understand how the Major League Baseball contracts work. As far as
we'd have to see it.
Are there any leeways? Are there any outs that he has? As far as I know, they let him play this year, and they've been upfront about that. For instance, he couldn't. I guess I know this for a fact, but he couldn't go play baseball this summer and come back play football. There's no way that could happen, right?
I don't know.
I'd
have to see the contract.
NCAA wise, though, can you go play Major League Baseball this summer and come back and play football?
Yeah, people have done it in the past. Ricky Williams did it early in his career.
So did the kid that played quarterback at Clemson. That was the first round pick of the Rockies, Kyle Parker.
Yes, right.
So who's to say that he doesn't go to spring training, plays for a couple months, has a decent rookie ball year, and then at the end of it, he just tells the A's, you know what?
I'm going back to school.
I'm retiring from baseball.
Well, then they're going to want their money back.
Right. The money thing I know is a lot for a lot of people, and I'm sure it's a lot for the Murray family. It's never struck me as the number one reason he would go play baseball.
Here's the other part of it, though.
I think that they're financially, it's not a situation that mom and dad are relying on Kyler to go play baseball, if that makes sense. They're not poor. That's what I'm trying to say.
I want to come back to I have another point I want to make on this, but want to remind you guys, Coop Ale Works, we don't have a player to watch this week because there's no game, but Coop Ale Works, fine sponsor of the program. Make sure if you're watching your bowl games, if you're watching your NBA, whatever, you want a great beer for you and your friends to enjoy, go pick up some Coop Ale Works. The Horny Toad Blonde, the F5 IPA, those are some of our favorites. The Native Amber, which I think Josh is really wanting to try. And right now, seasonally, they've got 4 different seasonal beers. And right now, they've got the Grand Sport Porter. That sounds a great, especially as freaking cold as it is right now. It's a great beer to have. Some hints of chocolate and coffee in it. So go check that out and go to your local liquor store. They got the 12 packs of the Horny Toad and the F5, so you can get those and just a lot of great stuff. So they've been in Oklahoma City for 9 years making craft beers, and go check them out. CoopAleWorks.com as well. Here's the thing to me about Kyler is let's say he wins a Heisman. It'll be the most unique career for a superstar in OU history because he played 1 year as a starter, won a Heisman, and then went into another sport, went to play baseball. Let's say he never comes back to football. But you know what? That could be, when you talk about if he becomes, because Kyler for baseball, you got to know, even the commissioner's office is this could be really good for our sport. Oh. If we have a Heisman Trophy winner,
those people have no idea how to. They've ruined Mike Trout.
I know.
They're not going to know how to use Kyler Murray.
But I'm saying that gives them something that a lot of people don't. It should give them, if he becomes a great player, an all-star, and he also has a Heisman Trophy, you can't deny that is one of the greatest athletes on the planet. And I mean, let's say it turns around and baseball doesn't screw him. That's also great for the University of Oklahoma. If you have, just like it is, I guess, Blake Griffin or Buddy Hield's getting pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to have someone in baseball like that.
Well, and the A's would be stupid not to market him as the next Bo Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, I know OU's kind of the Kyler knows thing, but even going back to baseball season, I remember talking to people around Eldell Mitchell that new scouts that had known people, not in front offices, obviously, but the idea of marketing him as the next Bo Jackson was was something that the Oakland A's really, really liked, I guess is the best way to say it.
I would think if he wins the Heisman in Oakland, they've got billboards up all over the place saying, congratulations,
Yeah,
Kyler,
sure.
in an A's uniform.
Absolutely. And, if the A's are in contention in the playoffs, guess who's getting called up to be a pinch runner? There's no doubt about it.
Oh, God, yeah. Without a doubt. So, yeah, I know people are going to be like, God, it'd be great to have him for another year. I wish you could have seen what he could do in the NFL. OU's got to keep putting people in the NFL. He could be something completely different that could really elevate your program's profile. So, if he goes to baseball, stays in baseball, OU fans should root like hell for him to become one of the best players in the game.
Basically, what you're saying is we're going to drag this thing out until the football season starts next year when he's not on campus.
Oh, God. I was thinking about this the other day. Are we going to have to do weekly Kyler Murray minor league reports?
If you have to send me to Scottsdale, we got to do what we got to do.
That's what you got to do.
I'm not so sure that we might do that every once in a while.
They're in Mesa. Mesa, and then he'd probably play rookie ball. I don't know where Oakland's rookie.
If he doesn't get off to a nice start, what's going to happen? How you think?
Like if he struggles?
Yeah, if he struggles,
he does Cape Cod type numbers.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Arizona League, Vermont Lake Monsters? Pretty sweet name. The Beloit Snappers.
This could be the league that he's in.
Yeah. If he ever gets to AAA, I'm for sure going out to see him play the 51s out in Las Vegas.
Yeah. They're not the Isotope, or that was New Orleans, wasn't it? Were they the Isotopes or whatever? Or
no, they're the
Zephyrs. They were the Zephyrs.
They were, and now there's something really, really strange.
I think I'm thinking of The Simpsons.
You are thinking of The Simpsons.
The Springfield Isotopes. Anyway, okay, so moving forward, should we talk about Alabama or should we talk about defensive coordinator? Or should we talk about recruiting?
Let's do a little bit of recruiting that turns into defensive coordinator, because I think there are a lot of stuff defensively, particularly in the recruiting realm, has a lot of question marks that go along with it as far as the defense coordinator situation.
Let me ask you this. What's more likely, that Bob Diaco is not doing recruiting visits because he's responsible for putting together the game plan for Alabama, or because... Well, I think we know the answer. We're not going to say. Or is it just because he's not going? They know he's not going to be around, or is it because he's not a great recruiter, or is it because he hasn't been around long enough as a full-time assistant? They don't want him recruit because he hasn't been recruiting guys.
I think there's a little bit of all of it. Maybe more so the last one. As far as he just hasn't been around, he doesn't know the guys. It'd be a little weird to send somebody in that hasn't been recruiting people to come in and give a pitch to a school that you might not be employed by in a month.
Judging by his YouTube videos, maybe he wouldn't make the best impression at times.
October 7th to really get to know some of these kids in a full-time role. And it just seems like it just is not happening at all.
Josh, has any kid even mentioned Bob Diaco to you?
No, not one. And I waited for a while to kind of see. Like, let's see if it happens naturally. Some guys said, oh, yeah, Coach Diaco calls me every Sunday or whatever. But the guy that seems the most obvious candidate is Joseph Wete. And I talk to him regularly, probably every 3 or 4 days. We kind of catch up on what's been going on. He's never had a conversation with Diaco, to my knowledge.
Wow.
And I believe Oklahoma is coming in Thursday or Friday of this week, and it will be Shane Beamer and Lincoln Riley.
I think that's
I don't know what else you have to say.
Yeah.
That seems blatantly like he's not part of the long-term plan.
It seems like Calvin Thibodeau is the one guy you continually see on the defensive visits along with Lincoln Riley.
Yep. Yeah.
Is he the most?
Well, I don't know. It's just that's who they're visiting right now. The defensive line, when they went, Jamal Morris, Carey Cooks was there.
I've seen some Carey
so
Cooks stuff
I think
out
it's
there.
just based on who they've seen. Marcus Hicks, they've seen Corey, probably see Derek Green. I think it's just more based
Tibbs
on
and Lincoln,
that.
were they with Marcus Hicks?
Not Lincoln this time around, but I'm sure he'll be making that way again in the next week or so. It was just Tibbs on Sunday.
What I thought was interesting is you had, like you guys mentioned, Thibodeau and Riley and Ruffin McNeil go to see Marcus Stripling and David Agwebu in Houston on Monday.
Guys that aren't committed.
Stripling we knew about. Agwebu I found out Ruffin went on that trip as well, which shouldn't be surprising. They're both Katy area guys. Their high schools are about 20 minutes apart, so it's not that big of a reach. What I do find interesting is that the next night they go to see Corey Roberson, and Lincoln is there, and Calvin is there. Ruffin is not there.
But he's already committed, a long time committed. But he's
a long time pledge.
But so Ruffin is his guy too, right?
What's that? I mean,
Ruffin's been his main recruiter, right? Robertson?
No. It's been Calvin. Yeah,
has it been Tibbs?
Calvin.
Okay.
It's just I don't know. Did Ruffin have something he had to get back? I mean, it could be something completely unrelated to recruiting decisions or staff decisions or anything like that. He could have, like you said, with Diaco, may have been get back and spend a little time game planning. Could have been anything. But it's just an interesting thing that Corey Roberson in the same city didn't see the current defensive coordinator, but the two uncommitted guys did. I don't know what to make of that. That was just a weird little thing that I kind of came across.
If Ruffin doesn't see Derek Green, then we'll know something's really up, because that's been his boy the entire time.
Yeah.
There is, and I don't think there's anybody more on board with Green than Ruffin. So
right.
that'll be.
And Green said publicly like Ruffin is his guy.
Yeah, I mean they're from the same area. I mean that's where the whole connection started.
Plus, I mean, he decommits, but then he comes back and then he recommits, and it's just like you would think you would definitely want to have Ruffin out there, just to calm any kind of fears or concerns or questions. Because has there been any activity with Green that suggests he might be wavering?
I have heard talk of him taking a Vanderbilt visit the weekend before signing day. I don't know if that'll happen. I don't know. It may be one of those things.
The dreaded week before.
Yep. It may have gotten out before it should have, and so now they'll you can kind of go talk to him and he'll hedge on it. Whatever they're going to do. And I don't want to speak for Bob, but Bob, again, it's one of those things you can check me if you hear differently. When I talk to people about Green, I just get a lot of mixed stories. Like there's some that seem like they're on board with him, and there's some that are like, I don't know if he fits. There's just some different conversations. And with all the things that are going on the defensive side of the ball, it's really interesting who's calling the shot here. Like who's making that final call of, okay, this guy we want to stick with, this guy we can let go, or we want to recruit Stripling, we don't want to recruit a Agwebu. I mean, none of those things are exactly true, but who says they are or aren't? Because, I mean, if it's Riley, then he's kind of putting everybody on notice that I'm not sure you're going to be in this position to make that call next year.
Yeah, we even saw it on offense last night with Stacey Wilkins with all the rumors about him going Arkansas State. They have Lincoln Riley there last night. That's a good sign. I mean, that's someone sort of locking it down, saying, okay, we're not getting rid of you just yet. I mean, you want to see Lincoln with every single kid here to know, okay, we should count on his signature in 2 weeks.
The weirdest one that you guys told me about, though, was that Spencer Rattlers was hosting Tim Kish.
That's okay, though, because you're going to work your way back. You see these kids.
Yeah, because Lincoln, people don't realize that he can only have one in-home visit.
Exactly. So you're going to make that one next week or something.
I figured it was more of just you used to live in Arizona type thing. This is your
maybe so.
I mean,
I guess
Arizona's Kish's area.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no doubt.
That's how I took it. Yeah, for sure.
But it's just what's weird to me about this is Riley is going to see so many uncommitted guys already. When like Stripling and Agwebu, you would think he would wait until that at least next week to do that in-home because, like you said, Carey, he can only do one.
That's it.
So you'd think he'd wanted to wait as close as he can to that early signing period, especially for a guy like Stripling who's going to sign on December 19th. So
But you know what? When you have so much uncertainty and you have probably other coaches saying like, why would you want to go to Oklahoma? You don't even know who you're going to be playing for. I would imagine that's Lincoln's only choice is to get out there as soon as he can, put his best foot forward, sell his vision of why they should still pick OU even with this uncertainty, and just get out in front of it, and then you just kind of have to hope that you can hang on.
Yeah,
I think that's the better. I think that's the better way to handle it.
Especially if someone signs in February. If you already use your in-home now, that'll be interesting to see.
And he has something to say, but it's
I'm
not
just
coming out.
trying to think. Like, I don't know how you would attack it, because I think
it's hard.
It's kind of shitty either way you go.
Yeah.
I mean, you're either going to lie to the kid,
either the front end or the back end.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess as long as you get the signature, does it really matter what you say? Basically, honestly, I think that's the way you have to think about it.
I don't think you're wrong. And guys,
it's
I've
a
been thinking
bad way
about
to
this
put
for
it,
the last
but-
week. Like, when you guys have talked to Lincoln Riley, and we may all assume that we know things, and but he still hasn't even come out and said there'll be a new defensive coordinator. This whole thing is in flux, and there's no way to know where the breaking points are, what's real, what isn't. Like, he knows, and that's fine. But for us, like, trying to cover this, I don't know how to read anything, because everything about every one of these situations could be looked at from 20 different points of view.
Well, I mean,
and it's confusing as hell to follow.
If he wants to help himself, he damn sure better hire a defense coordinator. I don't care if he wins a national championship or not.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't disagree.
And
I
don't think that there's any question about that. I think that there's a better chance that, like, for the crowd that says, "Oh, he's just going to keep Ruffin as defense coordinator," I don't think that's a job that Ruffin McNeil wants. I don't think he wants the pressure or the heartache, I guess would be the better way to put it, of being the defense coordinator at Oklahoma.
You're right.
Now, is he going to stay around next year? Maybe hang out for a couple days here and there? I don't know if he'll be on the staff. I certainly think he'll be part of the program, though, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And especially if he likes living in Norman.
His last year either way.
Right.
Like, for some reason to me.
Under no circumstances do I think that Ruffin McNeil will be the defensive coordinator next year at the beginning of the 2019 season.
I don't either.
No, I don't either, but publicly, and from everything I can gather from these kids, unless, Lincoln's like, okay, I'm telling you this, I know a reporter's going to talk to you, don't say anything about this part of our conversation, which is possible. But to what I know,
I don't think Lincoln would. I don't think Lincoln would trust a recruit with sensitive information.
I don't think he would either. But that's the only way that these kids have a better idea of what's going on than we do, and we're throwing darts to some degree.
Would a defensive coordinator been named had OU not be playing Bama today?
I think there's a chance.
Then
to
that
me,
means
the fact
that it's
nobody's like there is not even a strong rumor makes me feel like this Golding stuff's more real than people wanted to believe.
Okay, but then let's walk through that. I just don't understand how that could happen. Like, I don't understand why if you're Golding and you're going to take the Oklahoma job, why does it matter what you've done at Alabama?
You don't burn bridges.
Especially not Nick's.
He's not becoming a head coach. He's becoming a coordinator.
That's true.
Which he already is.
And I think that it's important to note the difference between him and Mike Loxley, who's taken the Maryland head coaching job.
Or Pruitt or Kirby. I mean, anybody that's
is going to stay on through the playoffs.
Kiffin left to be a head coach, and it still went poorly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and with Loxley, there's no conflict of interest, Eddie. Like, Oklahoma
is there not
and
a
Alabama,
conflict of interest?
You're working for literally opposing forces right now.
He's saying going to between Maryland and Alabama, there's no conflict.
Yeah. Like, there's
a conflict of interest because you're working two jobs. Yeah.
Sure. Lincoln's going to be like, hey man, we need you recruiting like all the time, and Nick's like, that's screwing me. So,
but here's the thing that's ridiculous about Alabama. Hold on. Here's the thing that's ridiculous about Alabama is they have coaches on top of coaches on top of, like, the guy that is backing up Loxley used to be the head coach at Central Michigan.
Yeah.
The Enos guy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he was an offensive coordinator too. It's like they just have coordinators on top of coordinators on top of I mean, Golding, like, he's already been, through this stuff. Like, he could be. He didn't have to go to Alabama. He could have gotten a great job doing what he was doing. But the point being, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
no, I think it's,
if Golding left, they would be fine. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. I guess maybe I just am having a hard time believing that they would try and keep it quiet for a month.
Just how weird would Miami be in all those press conferences?
I think it's gonna be even weirder now.
Oh, it's gonna be strange now. Yeah.
I think it'd be even weirder now that.
But I don't know that Golding will ever
have
press.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think so.
Co DC will make
unless
the
they
cut.
have both of them.
Yeah.
Well, now
on the
is
podium.
the Orange Bowl, are the coaches required, like the players are required to go out and have an open media?
I mean, they would be, but
Well, yeah.
that would be at the that'd be at the team
media day.
That one day, and I think it's only like
It's
45
minutes this year. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, how many? You know that at least two of you would be over at Golding. Like you have to go over and ask those questions.
I'll be on flu watch. I'm just making sure the quarterback doesn't have the flu this year.
God, let us not go through that again. That was terrible.
It's one of the best pictures of Jake Trotter ever.
Eddie's just going to be over there shooting Kyler full of vitamin B.
I will try to find it. It's when Baker shows up unannounced, and Jake is doing all he can to try to hear what Baker's saying.
It's obvious that the ESPN offseason program isn't what the Scoop offseason program is made up to be.
We're like the Junction Boys.
No, I mean, we use that day. Like last year, we used that day to interview
Junction
like Creed
Breeze beats Brian
Humphrey.
Kelly.
Yeah, you talked to a lot of
Jordan Parker.
a lot of red shirt guys and injured guys. Like Chance Sylvie would be someone I'd want to talk to.
I have a great picture
Jaquaylin
of
Crawford,
Kyler Murray and Grant Calcaterra from last year. It's pretty good.
I mean, that's what you do. You make most. I mean, almost at that point, you have nothing else to ask.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to be wasting time talking to Kenneth Murray. Not that he's, not that there's anything wrong, but we've talked to Kenneth Murray more than any other player this year because he's a team captain.
I'm gonna feel bad if you guys just literally talked about this. I zoned out for just a second reading something on Twitter. Who's the guy that you would want to talk to above anybody else?
Anybody on this team, or just anybody?
No, anybody on the team, roster, coaching staff,
Bob
like somebody that you could just have
I can
access
see that.
to.
Yeah.
Bob Diaco.
Oh, that's a good one.
You know what my first question would be? Man. That's just it. That's all it would be. That's all I'd ask.
I thought you were going to go with like wine pairings or something, Eddie.
We'd get to that. That'd be further down the list.
This will be the first chance we get to talk to Buki, Ronnie Perkins.
Yeah.
I mean,
no
it will
shit.
be. So, yeah, it'll be a tense 45 minutes.
Can you ask Ronnie about his thoughts on me? I mean, just catch up.
Have you guys patched it up yet?
See if he even knows who you are.
Yeah,
He hasn't big timed you. Hasn't big timed you yet.
Yeah.
No, it'll be good. That usually Media Day is a very fun event, and I use fun kind of loosely, but it is a good event.
And it is much shorter this year. Is it? I thought it was at least.
No, it used to be an hour and a half.
Yeah. Yep.
Back at 2008.
I don't think this year's Media Day in Miami will be as intriguing
Is Mixon
as the last times, but maybe Lindsey Schnell can get called up and she can duke it out with another player.
That's right. It'll be up in the thing.
Yeah.
That's the side of the last.
Over at the stadium.
My God.
That place looks completely different, by the way.
Oh, yeah. They $500 million renovation
insane.
since we were there
Is
last
it different
It
for
looks
us?
very
'Cause
homey.
Our vantage point sucked.
I don't think it'll be in the corner over
yeah,
where
we'll
the
probably
home
still
plate
have
was.
the end zone press box.
It looks
or
very
whatever.
homey, though.
I remember
Like very small.
You mentioned, it's got like an awning now all the way around, which I guess that protects from the rain a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
But no, you were talking about how long it's going to be. You'll appreciate this story. 2008, when OU played Florida, it was getting ready to start, and they had it on the clock, 90 minutes or whatever. And you know how much Sam loved doing media. Of course, Sam had the little cast still on his hand. He had the George Washington going. And he looks down at me, and he goes, "How long is this?" And I just got a big smile on my face because I knew how much he was going to hate it. I go, 90 minutes. And he looked at me like,
oh, my God.
with terror in his eyes. He was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Well, luckily, an hour and a half later, they had Tebow come in, and then he circumcised a bunch of kids, pray over them before they started.
Yeah, he was. I remember Bob Stoops sweated up a storm that day.
It was outside too.
It was
Oh yeah,
outside?
it was outside.
Oh, that's great.
It was on the It was in the stadium. By the way, one of the reasons that we're gonna have such a great time down there in Miami is because we're going to be sponsored by Eskridge Lexus. They are our official travel partner. Want to remind you guys, it's their December to Remember going on right now. Great deals on Lexus. I just drove the Lexus GS. It's kind of like an oversized IS, which I really enjoyed it. Great ride. I know some call it the mom car, but you know what? Wives need Lexuses too. So give Ed Eskridge a call. They got December to remember, as I said. It's the best time of the year to buy a new Lexus. You're seeing these ads all over TV right now. But even I'll say this: if you guys are down in Dallas, go look up Ed Eskridge, EskridgeLexus.com. He'll work out a good deal for you too. Just tell him that you're a Sooner Scoop listener or a subscriber. But it really is the best time of the year. They've got all the new 2019s out with special holiday incentives, and that's on top of the special Sooner Scoop price that you're going to receive when you mention us here on the Unofficial 40 podcast. So thanks to Eskridge Lexus for sponsoring our travel as well down to Miami. And I want to thank Ed and the guys over there do a fantastic job supporting the podcast. Okay, so we haven't really gotten into names with the defensive coordinator hire other than Golding.
The two that are out there.
Yeah,
I mean Alex Grinch and Pete Golding.
And I put up a post on the board today kind of explaining
was intriguing, yes.
The Grinch stuff, but I had been tipped off a little bit earlier that there's something that was interesting, which is, Greg Schiano is the defensive coordinator there, and Alex Grinch is an assistant. Ryan Day, who's the new head coach, and Alex Grinch actually share the same agent, which you always wonder with a coaching change. And Schiano's name, I don't know, Josh, maybe you could speak to this even more. I need to catch up with the Ohio State guys, but there's like this feeling out there that Schiano is, and maybe it's because their defense didn't play particularly well this year. Maybe that's all it is. But I don't know, Josh, I've always got this feeling that it's out there like Schiano is, even if Urban Meyer had stayed, like he's on the hot seat.
That's definitely been out there. I mean, it's strange to me because the 2 years prior when he's been in charge, they've had one of the best defenses in the country. They were really good last year. I mean, that's why Oklahoma going and doing what they did was such a big deal because I think people, and it's the norm of any major program. When you're really good for a while, people don't want to acknowledge that he's lost a ton of guys. Halfway through this season, they lost probably the number one overall draft pick in next spring's draft in Bosa. So, there's so much that they've had to turn over. Their secondary was almost completely revamped this year for the second time in a row. They've just kind of shuffled in one guy, lost a whole bunch, brought in a bunch of new guys. So there's been a lot to replace. But, yeah, I don't think there's any question that there was, even before the Meyer stuff, there was a feeling that he was in trouble.
You know what's interesting? People have said Alabama's defense is down this year compared. And I guess numbers-wise, it's proven out. But Ohio State, very explosive offense. Defense is struggling. Alabama, very explosive offense this year. Defense not playing as well. I mean, we've always said there might be a little bit of a correlation there.
Perfect time for an offense to win the national title.
Yeah, might be. Except for Clemson. Their defense is still pretty good.
And you know what? This would be very homerific. I just don't know how good Clemson is this year. I think they're really good.
They didn't play
but
anybody.
The ACC's so bad. I think they're really good. I think
this might be the year for OU. This might be the year they can do it.
They're one of the four best. But I think Alabama, Clemson, and Oklahoma, I think they beat Notre Dame by more than a touchdown 9 times out of 10.
Let's not even talk about national championship. If OU beats Alabama, is this because it's post Bob Stoops, and we all know, I mean, we can talk about it. I mean, and we've talked about it before, like the bump in interest, the bump in our subscriptions, everything since Bob Stoops retired. Like Sooner Scoop has never been bigger. There's never been more interest. There's never been more page views. There's never been, the podcast. I mean, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. I'm not saying there's a bubble, because I think it's still got more to go. But if they beat Alabama, this might be the modern golden age of OU football. Just going to a national championship, beating Alabama. I don't know that the fan base will ever be this excited.
Well, I think it would certainly be looked at
hasn't been this
as,
exciting.
quote unquote, they had slayed the giant, if you will. The giant being Alabama.
It's just like back to that Herbie stuff. Like maybe Alabama's not the Alabama that we've known.
I don't know. I think they're going to have to get over that hump. It's going to have to, and I think it's still a surmountable hump.
Can you imagine, like, if OU beat Alabama, Alabama fans would legitimately think that they were under some kind of Oklahoma curse.
Yeah, to fall
after
to
the Sugar Bowl.
4-1.
It would be like Oklahoma and Notre Dame. Josh remembers that growing up. Like they broke the 47 win streak. OU, even when they played in '99, the record was like 1-5 or something like that against Notre Dame all time.
It certainly plays into Oklahoma's hands, I think, just from a going into the game perspective. There's not a person in the world that expects them to win. I mean, outside of I know Dennis Dodd has picked OU to win the national championship.
Has he?
That's kind of a. I think that's kind of more of a.
We shouldn't say that. Don't repeat that.
Well, I think it's more of a if I'm right, look at me type thing. I mean, I can't sit here and honestly tell you that I think Oklahoma is going to beat Alabama.
I can't
No.
either. At some point, the defense, there's just too. If OU were to win a national championship, it would completely change the narrative of college football, in my opinion. Just as far as you don't really have to play defense to win this damn thing. Like, there will be a lot of people, I think, that would be angry that Oklahoma won the national championship because it would go against a lot of what people say and how a team has to be built to win.
All the people in the old
room.
people,
Yeah,
the
the
committee
committee
people.
Or the other side of it is there will be a lot of people that will just say, well, they had a historic offense. That's what you're supposed to do.
If OU wins the national championship, it will change football. It will.
No, I completely agree.
It will
completely
change
agree.
the way football is played.
Completely, 100% agree.
And I'm not saying like
the norm.
Jim Harbaugh will all of a sudden go total air raid and all that, but it'll be like what's happened in the Big 12. When Mike Leach came in here, he changed the conference.
They'd be the first team to ever be a quote-unquote air raid team, even though they run the ball and we know everything that they do with the ground game. It would change.
Can you imagine how fast the SEC would change
overnight?
Like if Alabama got beat by Oklahoma again
overnight,
and Oklahoma won a national championship, everyone in the SEC would be trying to go to a Lincoln Riley offense.
You'd have to find the coaches
Guys, it's already
that can
changed.
do it.
Look at Alabama.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, Josh.
Nick Saban's running an open offense right now. Guys, the thing I keep getting into with this game, if you're Alabama, do you consider we're not going to get into a shootout with Oklahoma? We don't want – that's a world Oklahoma's comfortable in, and it's not a game we're used to playing. Like, we don't want to get in the 40s and 50s with Oklahoma because they know what that's like. We don't.
Yeah.
If you're Alabama, do you go a little out of what's become your comfort zone this year, and we're going to run the ball a little bit more, we're going to play a little more like Georgia did in the Rose Bowl last year than letting Tua just go, all right, Tua, Kyler, roll the ball out there and see who's better. Like, I don't think Alabama wants to play that game because that's OU's best chance to win.
The thing, though, about it is Georgia, I'm sure, didn't want to play the game like it ended up in the first half. It's just until you face this offense, you cannot prepare for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
I mean, it's just like Texas. I mean, Texas did a much better job the second time around. Well, Oklahoma did a much better job the second time around, too.
No doubt. And I think that but I also think there's a balance in between there, Josh. I don't know if they want to just entirely slow the game all the way down either.
No, I don't mean like they want to play 28-17 or something. Like because that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
Because if they have one empty possession, they could really be in a lot of trouble. But I mean, I just mean, okay, well, we're not going to be afraid to let a clock run down below 10. We're gonna run the ball a little bit more, those kind of things. Because I just like I said, it's not that Alabama can't beat OU in the 40s. They can. They're good enough offensively. Their defense is miles better than Oklahoma's. I get that. But it's just a game that OU's played. They know what that's like. They know what it's like to be in those kind of games. Alabama has no idea.
Yeah. Do you think Judy is his best comparison is Tylan Wallace?
Yeah, that's I never thought of it, but that's actually pretty good. Jerry Jeudy he's a freak. That dude is unbelievable.
He's going to have 250 yards. You just got to kind of be resigned to that.
And Eddie saw him live once upon a time too. Jalen Waddle.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Jalen Waddle. Oh, Bob was there too.
We'll need to break out some of the. We'll break out some of that Scoop HD video here at some point over the next month.
Jalen Waddle's nice.
He was very good. He was
and
probably
Henry
the best
Ruggs,
player on that team.
Yeah. Henry Ruggs is a guy that OU fans don't know a lot about yet, but that dude, that's a 10-year NFL slot receiver right there. I mean, he's Alabama. Not surprisingly, Alabama's freaking loaded.
Can OU win the game without Marquise Brown?
No.
Not a chance.
They
Yes, they can.
They can't stretch it out as much.
They still got
Alabama-
Kyler Murray.
They need somebody to scare them vertically, and
Exactly.
there's nobody else that does
Because
it.
then, if you can scare them vertically, then you can hit stuff over the middle. So you don't always have to go to Brown. He can be decoy, but he's got to be out there.
Basically, a challenge to Charleston Rainbow. So
Charleston, I'm just gonna say you're not ready for that yet. So if that's the challenge, and you go out and drop 10 and 150, cool. I'm wrong.
On December 29th, he will be.
I mean, the challenge.
But and by the way, we know nothing about Marquise Brown. I'm not saying that he's not going to play.
Do you think we're ever going to know anything about Brown?
I think when
at
practices
some point they're going to have to
because
we'll be able to go to practice.
Yeah,
so.
the first 10 minutes, yeah.
Oh, they're not going
15.
to make him dress up just to fool us. I don't think they're that committed or that
I wouldn't
paranoid.
put past them.
I don't know.
I mean, from the moment
I'm Bob. I'm all conspiracy theory. I got my tinfoil on.
I'll be there, when they land. That'll be one of the first questions that gets asked, and I'll be there to see Marquise Brown either limp off a plane or walk off a plane.
What if he does neither? What if they take him off on a wheelchair to really screw it?
To really screw, yeah. I'm not.
Or what if it's one of those motorized ones and he goes off on the handicap area?
What if they try and take his wheelchair down the steps and they let go and he goes tumbling?
Well, somebody be fired if that happens.
And the same thing with Tua and his high ankle. I don't have a clue of when they'll actually be truthful.
I mean, we know he's getting surgery.
I think that
I've talked to, and I don't know how anybody would know this, but there is one person out there that is an acquaintance of Dr. James Andrews that says Tua's not going to play. He will not play in the Orange Bowl after he goes under this procedure. So we'll see. I don't think that they would have it if he wasn't going to. Does that make sense?
There's a part of me that thinks that's worse for Oklahoma.
If he doesn't play?
Jalen Hurts is the exact kind of quarterback that murders OU.
No, OU's never had a problem against the dual threat quarterback. What are you talking about?
I know. I mean, and Tua don't get me wrong, Tua can run, but he's not lethal with his feet like Hurts is.
You're saying hobbled Tua is the best possible scenario?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no way.
Sure.
Even if he plays, there's no way Tua's 100% in that short of time. No way.
Problem is,
like 2 weeks off of surgery.
Unlike Georgia, OU can get no pressure on Tua with that offensive line that they've got. They got no chance.
Yeah, that might be one of the few games where I'm like, I'm not blitzing that much.
They got to get turnovers.
Yeah, we're going to drop and maybe leave Trey Norwood at safety. I don't know how that worked so well, but that worked really well.
He tackled somebody. Like
he did the first
tackle.
play of the game.
Yeah. It was Humphrey.
That was a great play.
It was Humphrey.
Yeah.
He just had to be put in the safety spot.
It was refreshing to see somebody be tackled.
Well, guys, and
defensively, they played great.
They did.
Well, could you use the word great?
They played solid.
They played
solid.
They played good, and that was the first time in a long time.
Since what, K-State?
Yes.
But you know what? All they did was tackle and make some plays behind the line of scrimmage. That's basically what it was. Like I thought that
Bledsoe had some plays.
I thought the Kenneth Mann play before the Trey Brown safety was maybe one of the biggest plays of the game because it put him in second and long.
Yeah, tackled the guy for like a 1 or 2 yard loss.
Yeah, it was second. It was one.
Caleb Kelly wasn't as flashy as he was against West Virginia, but he played really well, and it was kind of like that play where we just talked about with Norwood made the tackle. On that bubble that Texas kept trying to run, he kept getting that guy's outside shoulder and forcing the play back into the middle and not allowing them to hit that corner. And I thought that was huge on 2 or 3 different occasions.
That was such a big play for every team during the second half of the season. And boom. Well, this time it wasn't working.
Just an offensive play was pretty much a big play for every other team, in the last month of the season. So just run any play, and the odds are good it was going to go well. So
We've got
All right.
we've got a lot of time to break down Alabama and Oklahoma. I would imagine we'll talk with our Alabama. I was texting with our Alabama with Kyle last night, one of our Alabama publisher. We'll probably even do some stuff together down in Miami, and we're going to be podding down there as well, thanks to Eskridge Alexis. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff, and it's going to be multiple pods while we're down in Miami. So that'll be something to look forward to. And then, of course, Eddie and Bob and I will all be there. If they win,
Oh, jeez.
I don't know how we're going to walk to.
Subscriptions are going up to $200 a year.
Go fund me.
Yeah, for 1 month only, your subscriptions will double. No, we can't do that, unfortunately. So anyway, no, I promise you, we won't have to go fund our way there. So we'll just not have any money for a little while. So anyway, any other business? Anybody you guys want to bring
What
up?
if I started peddling cocaine around Norman?
No, it's not happening.
Shot down.
We'd fly private out there. How about that?
I do have an idea. I don't know if I told you guys about it.
No.
I think if I put 2,000 on the money line. No, I told Josh this. If I put 2,000 on the money line, and I'd be fine with losing 2,000.
But yes,
if it meant
absolutely
we could get 10,000.
We have to do that.
You want to do that?
Yes. I'll put 500 of my own money just to make it interesting.
So I have to do 1,500 and you'll do 500.
Yes, absolutely. That'd be so much fun. I'll be
because it
so
would pay
happy
for
or
our trip.
So pissed. We have to do that.
You like the idea?
I don't like it. I love it.
So we have two. We have 2 out of 4 yeses. Josh, are you a no on this? By the way,
you know,
what if I just say you only have to put 500, Josh, and I'll pay the 1,000?
It's called going big or going home.
What if I'm personally responsible for 1,000? Josh, you're personally responsible for 500, and Eddie's in for 500.
All right.
Yes.
So we're doing
Let's
this.
get this. Let's make this interesting.
Will this I don't know. Will this void our credentials?
It might.
Ooh.
It might actually.
We shouldn't talk about this publicly. Shit. Delete. Mark.
Delete.
I love the idea.
I don't think it would void our. I mean, there are people that cover sports that bet.
I've never.
So what's the money?
That's never come across my radar.
What is the money line right now? Let's figure out how much money we would make if we bet 2,000.
Let me pull it up here.
I mean, we can cover it anyway, but this would just make it so much better. And I'll say this: holiday bonuses for New Year bonuses for everybody, if this works out.
Love it.
I don't know where the bowl schedule is with the
Let's see.
odds.
Okay, I've got Oklahoma plus 400.
So we put 2,000 down. What, Mr. Gambler? What did we get?
It'd be like 8,000, right?
Yeah,
8,000 back or 8,000?
Well, you'd win 10,000.
You get 10,000.
You'd be betting 2,000 to win 10,000.
Where do we have to go to do this legally?
Somewhere like Vegas or.
So I gotta make a damn trip to Vegas.
I mean,
I guess I'm going to see Spencer Rattler.
There's somebody that could help us out. Well, you're not gonna be playing. Maybe we could give the money to the Rattlers when we see them in San Antonio. Actually, no, that'd be after.
No, that's after the game, yeah.
So couldn't do that.
We're not trying to be bag men. We're just trying to pay for our trip.
No, yeah, we want them to go bet it. We want them to go gamble. Is that right? That's right. Correct?
That it would be 10,000 back to us?
I think that's right.
Are we saying Rattler because we feel like he can make a short drive to Vegas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
okay.
fine.
I was like, we're all aware he plays in Phoenix.
Yeah,
right?
no. He's just closer to Vegas.
Sure,
It's as close as we get.
I'm sure that's almost like Oklahoma City to Dallas. So that's a quick.
I'll
one.
have to check flights because now we're down. Damn it! Now we're down 100.
Well, no, we'll figure it out. There's somebody out there that'll take a $2,000 bet.
Is it illegal for us to do offshore betting in Oklahoma?
No. You just got to make sure that it's the right site.
That they'll pay us?
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I'm not worried about
But
that.
if we have to go back to Vegas to get our money. They're not just going to mail it to us. But hell, if we got $10,000, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But if they win, then you're going to California anyway.
Oh yeah, we can pick it up on the way.
Is gambling legalized in Florida yet?
I don't know. I would assume that would be one place where it would definitely be legalized. So we could just do it when we got there, but we don't know if the odds would be. I mean, by then Tua could be announced as out.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't be good. We need to make if we're going to make the bet, we need to do it in the next couple weeks. You know what? I'm sure there's some listeners out there that have more, because I do all my gambling illegal. So I'm sure that there's somebody out there that it's under consideration in South Carolina. We'd have to drive up.
Not doing that. I'm not driving to Miami. I've already bought the plane tickets.
You know what would be easiest? Be able to do it from here. Somebody in Oklahoma needs to step up, get something done.
You know what? I could maybe.
Surely one of our listeners is going to Vegas.
Is that legal though?
What?
Having someone place a bet for you?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll just have Fat Jack do it then.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to
There
Fat
you go.
Jack. He could do it.
Yeah.
He could definitely do it. He lives out there, basically.
He's out there every week.
Yeah.
The cheapest flight Southwest is showing from OKC to Vegas is $186 on early signing day.
I don't know why I'm asking you about this. I know Mark Rogers.
Yeah,
He's
you don't.
He's the
We'll get this
biggest
figured out.
Lothario I know.
If we want this to happen, we will get it done.
It
And I
will
think
go
for the listeners, we'd be doing a disservice to the listeners and to the
If we
subscribers
didn't do this?
if we didn't do it. If we cock teased them and then didn't do it, I mean, I think
he's challenging everybody.
I think it's
now.
fun. I think this would be fun.
So I'm just.
And by the way, they're,
like Eddie is
they're
all for.
14.5-point underdogs. 14
Well, that's
and a
why you
half.
go money line. We can't make our money
Win or go home is what
going
you're saying.
against the odds. So Josh, you're for this.
14.5 points.
You no longer think this is a joke.
I didn't think you were serious. I didn't think this is
No, I
something you would
absolutely was serious.
do.
You can.
No,
I mean.
I'm not
my
even said
options
that Eddie
are
has to-
my options
to
are lose
damage
$2,000 or lose $7,000.
I know.
Seems
I'm
pretty
with you.
simple.
Yeah,
there,
to me
boss.
it's simple.
Seems pretty simple.
Which
to
would you
me.
rather lose?
I know which
Yep.
one I'd want.
Yeah, Eddie, I know which one you want, but really, I'm not sure I have to put. I feel bad putting Eddie in this.
Hell, Bay Area hotels it might be $350 a night.
Oh God, I don't want to.
We might be talking about 2,000 versus 10,000.
Bay Area, put it this way. Live on the streets in San Francisco.
Yeah, you can and shoot up and poop.
Let's go stay with your buddy. The Scoop crew is gonna stay with out in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's a long drive though.
Yeah, how? Because it's Santa Clara, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would just
Wait,
fly
wait.
out. What?
If OU goes to the national championship, Jared's going to that damn thing. Just have
B&B.
Jared get a really nice room.
Well,
and
he's
you guys hole up.
B&Bing for Miami already, or Airbnb.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Airbnb might be.
at least he was showing us.
You know
the-
what? I don't know why we don't do that as a media as the beat people, the group. Why we don't just do Airbnb instead of? I mean, the media
because
hotel
you can't
is
get
so,
any work done if you're not at the media hotel. You
Well,
can't get the
it's
work
so
done. you need to
convenient
get done.
too. It's a very
Yeah.
convenient setup for
The press
everything. That's
conferences
true.
are all there.
They give you have a bus to take you anywhere.
Yeah, they charter
I
you
don't-
everywhere. They feed you. That's the other thing.
I hope Joe Galloway's in Miami. Take a picture with him.
I bet he's not since Herbie and
You think
Fowler
they'll be
doing
in
the
Dallas?
game.
I just
Yeah.
figured they'd send everybody to Miami. Nobody really cares about the other game. Clemson's going to win by 30.
You think Notre Dame's getting blown out?
Not blown
Notre
out,
Dame is-
but I think Clemson's going to win pretty comfortably.
Handily.
Comfortably, yeah.
I would say
I don't know how good Notre Dame is. That's another team that, I mean, I think that they're a good football team. I certainly don't think they're one of the best 4 teams in the country. They played a shitty schedule.
Through no fault of their own.
Yeah, it's not their fault that USC's awful. It's not their fault that Stanford was down this year.
Virginia
They caught them at a
Tech,
bad
Florida
time.
State.
Michigan's not as good as we thought they were.
No,
I mean-
Michigan. What would Michigan get in the Big 12? Third.
What would they get?
What would they have been? Third. I think OU and Texas beat them both.
I think they're like Texas. They're like Texas.
I'd take Michigan over Texas.
Yeah.
I still think that defense.
I'm just
would
saying.
be the
Yeah,
difference
I'm
for
just
them.
saying they're
No,
more
that's
like
fair.
Texas. They're not a super explosive
Oh,
offense.
sure, yeah.
And they play
yeah.
defense.
That's fair.
I mean,
I mean, Texas.
they
doesn't really play defense.
played 2 offenses that had the capability to hurt them, and one they did well, and one Ohio State just housed them. So
yeah,
Fair enough.
all right. I think we're good. Signing day. If people keep asking me, signing day is December 19th.
through the 21st.
Through the 21st. Yeah, but everybody's going to sign the first day.
You'd hope so.
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
That's going to be an interesting pod. We're going to figure out how we're going to do that.
Yeah, but just have to do it after.
We'll probably do it Thursday or something.
Okay, I was going to say, because I'm
Since
pretty
there's no
sure
games.
I'll have to be at Marcus Stripling's.
Yeah, if there's no games, we don't have to worry about staying on such a strict schedule. So.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, it's been fun. Looking forward to next week as well. We'll find out Kyler Murray, OU's next Heisman Trophy winner or not by the time we broadcast.
That was a staff meeting, by the way.
What's that?
That was a staff meeting. They just heard a staff meeting.
Oh,
that was a staff meeting.
Yeah,
staff meeting.
Sorry for that.
That's probably as serious as we get, honestly. Yeah, I think Eddie's right.
So yeah, thanks for listening to the staff meeting pod. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to check out. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's get out of here. There's no other podcast right now.
Check out Soonerscoop.com though if you want to get the latest on.
We've
OU
still
football.
got our Cyber 99 deal going. If you want to get the latest Jordan brand stuff, if you want to get OU's Orange Bowl gear, if you want to get Big 12 championship gear, if you're going to buy all that stuff anyway, sign up for a year of Sooner Scoop because we'll give you $100 to spend in our gear store.
To the people out there, we're chasing Alabama guys, so maybe a little superstition here. Sell some extra subs. Maybe OU beats Alabama because of that. I'm not saying they will, but you can't say it's not. So just saying.
You can't.
Maybe it's time to sign up. Join up. Help OU
sign
beat
up
Alabama.
for victory. # sign up for victory.
Not bad. Not bad. I'll start pushing it.
All right. Eddie's next video. Any thoughts on that quickly?
If you know how to rent a spaceman suit, I would love for you to slide into my DM.
That's interesting.
Oh my God.
I'm looking for one.
Okay.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you get.
You have to wear one to do a video from inside another person's brain. That's just a tease.
Oh, God. I thought we were going to let this go. Okay, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys next week. We're out of here. Bye.